Browns losers here in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium, 26-22. And Mary Kay, we have to start obviously with the enormous news of the day. One of the first plays of the second quarter, Nick Chubb goes down, is carted off, ruled out immediately with a knee injury. His season likely over. And really with Nick, it's not just what he does on the field. Obviously, that's incredible, but guys in the locker room are calling him the heartbeat of the team. He means so much to this team and organization, and now it looks like the Browns will have to move forward 15 more games without him.
Yes, he absolutely is lost for the season. Kevin Stefanski confirmed that after the game, and it should be, I think it's multiple knee ligaments, so he will have a surgery. So many guys got emotional talking about him after the game. These guys have used him as an inspiration for their own comebacks from injuries and surgeries and things like that. And as Greg Newsome told me tonight, we are dedicating our season to Nick Chubb. Every practice, every game is dedicated to him. That's what we are doing, and that's what we are going to be doing out here on this football field.
Ashley, Joel Bitonio did get emotional, it seemed, and he said, look, if you have 53 personalities like Nick Chubb, you'd have a pretty dang good football team. These guys are really going to miss having him around.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was surprised to see Joel get as emotional as he did. I know you were too, Dan. He was the first player that we talked to. He was still in his pads, and he got choked up a little bit, I think, even trying to figure out a way to talk about Nick. And I think like the overwhelming thing is multiple guys use this word that it was almost surreal to see him go down and see that cart come out for him, because that's a guy that kind of stuff just doesn't happen to. And a lot of them said, he does everything the right way, that it's just part of this game that's unfair is really the only way to put it.
Yeah, Amari Cooper called it tragic. Juan Thornhill said, Nick Chubb's invincible. This isn't supposed to happen to that guy. But here we are, Nick Chubb, his season likely over. That means, of course, an even bigger burden on quarterback Deshaun Watson and Mary Kay. It was a struggle for Deshaun today. He was under pressure all day. The Browns turned the ball over multiple times. He had an interception. He had a fumble. It was just a messy game today for Deshaun Watson and this Browns offense as a whole.
Yeah, I asked him, did you try to do too much with Nick out? Were you pressing? And he said no, he didn't feel like he did that, but I thought I saw that in him a little bit. I thought he was forcing things somewhat and trying to do a little bit too much. And I don't think he needs to do that. I think he has enough weapons on the team, or at least he should have enough weapons on the team, that they can spread the load around and try to get things done that way. But, it was a horrible game for Deshaun Watson. He even described it as, I'm not allowed to say it on a family video, but he used a swear word about how he played. And, I have to agree with him. In addition to, the way that down for down he didn't play well, he also got 2 face mask penalties. And then we saw the replays a few times where he kind of shoved a ref out of the way a little bit. And, that's a no-no. I don't know how that's going to be perceived in the aftermath when the league office looks at it. But you can't do that kind of stuff. I thought he kind of lost his composure a little bit and really didn't keep himself together enough to win this game.
Yeah, Ashley, this started out as a potential kind of primetime, hey, Deshaun is back game, and then it just didn't happen. He just didn't play the way we expect Deshaun Watson to play.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of underscores, I think, how long of a way he still has to go to be like a top 5 quarterback in this league, for example, because the way he looked tonight is not going to cut it for their long-term goals without Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb can maybe help you keep this thing going, keep it afloat for a little bit, but he's got a lot of growing to do here really quickly. I think it's a wake-up call almost.
Okay, so the Browns return home. They've got a few home games in a row coming up around the bye week in Week 5, and they've got Tennessee. Now, the Browns are a more talented team than Tennessee, Mary Kay, but Mike Vrabel, his teams are always tough. They're hard to play. We came into this game thinking, could this team be 2-0 for the first time since 1993? Instead, they're 1-1. That AFC North race remains wide open. So where do things go from here?
They have to pull together. They have to rally around this and let it motivate them. They've got to really, they've got to dedicate this season to Nick and just say, we can't throw the towel in. We can't let this take us under. We can't let it, bum out our whole community, our whole city, our whole team. It has to be something that is a rallying cry for them, and everybody's going to have to take up their game a notch.
Yeah, Ashley, I mean, look, the season's not over. Deshaun mentioned it. There are still 15 games left in this season, but it gets a lot harder without Nick Chubb. And, you slip up against Tennessee, or you got San Francisco, you got Baltimore. I mean, this thing gets a little bit tougher here. This team has to figure some things out quick.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd be getting ahead of myself if I were to pick a game, but I've been worried about this Tennessee game since the schedule came out because it's coming in the middle of these division games. I think even though the Browns are the more talented team, we know that Mike Vrabel is a good coach, like you said, Dan, and it screamed kind of trap game to me this early in the season. So I definitely think, look, there's no gimmies, especially before this bye. And again, now this early bye I think is unfortunate, but at least now that it's coming like so close to this injury. So if they need to do major regrouping, they can do that in a couple of weeks at least.
Okay, so regrouping, that is really the word. The Browns have to regroup here as they leave Pittsburgh, which they have had to do so many times since they came back in 1999. That's what they're doing this morning. It is very early in the morning here in Pittsburgh as we're recording this. Full coverage of the game, the Nick Chubb injury, the aftermath, all of that at cleveland.com/Browns.